Greetings everyone. In today's video we're going to dive into officer skills, which ones are worth keeping and which ones you should be destroying. So if you're not sure how to manage your skills inventory, stay tuned. When you open your skills inventory, you'll notice there are three main types of skills: director, strategy, and warfare. Each category has its own focus, but today, let's start with the director skills. Now, if it were up to me, I'd destroy every director skill no matter what they are. Some players may argue about the usefulness of resource gathering skills, but I'm telling you, just destroy them, you won't regret it. Most people either have farms or just buy resources, so director skills really don't make much of a difference. By destroying these skills, you'll earn a ton of officer XP clips, which is key to boosting your overall growth. As you can see, I had over 800 director skills sitting around, and breaking them down gave me a huge amount of officer XP. Now, when it comes to strategy skills, here's what you should keep in mind. You only really need to hold on to 2 or 3 of the fuel up skills. Having just 2 is enough in most cases, but keeping 3 won't hurt if you prefer. The same goes for medicine. I'd recommend holding on to 3 of them as well, especially if you care about maximizing recruitment in a single go. However, even then, it doesn't make a huge difference, so it's more of a personal preference. For example, I have 20 fuel up skills, but I only have 2 equipped. If you want to keep an extra one, that's fine, but honestly 2 is more than enough. I'll show you how many I had left over after optimizing my inventory. As for skills like Rapid Fleet, it's pretty much pointless unless you care about monster XP. If that's the case, you could keep 2 or 3 of those, but personally I find them unnecessary. Finally, draft skills are another one that's not very useful, so I wouldn't bother holding on to more than one of those. And for first treat, you may want to keep 1 extra around just in case you need it later. Now, for the medicine skill, you can safely keep around 2 of them. It's enough to cover most of your recruitment needs without going overboard. As for reinforcement fleet, this one is more situational. It's not the most crucial skill, unless you're aiming to be a fast defender or someone who frequently needs to mobilize reinforcements. In that case, I'd recommend keeping 1 or 2, but honestly, you won't need more than that. Then there's Max City Defense. This one doesn't hold much value for me personally. It might sound useful in theory, but in practice, it rarely makes a big impact on gameplay, so I wouldn't prioritize keeping it. Now, let's talk about the most important category: warfare skills. These are the skills that really matter when it comes to combat, and they can make a huge difference in your overall power and effectiveness. First off, let's take a look at the skills in your inventory. The green colored ones indicate skills that are currently equipped, while anything not green means it's not in use. Now, one of the skills people often ask about is City Guard Attack. If you're someone who frequently attacks cities, whether during a frenzy event or another PvP scenario, this skill might seem useful. However, it doesn't apply when attacking towers or other specific structures, which limits its usefulness. Overall, I wouldn't recommend keeping it, as there are much better options out there. For example, if you're focused on mid-range attacks, you should go for Mid-Range Expert. Similarly, if you're specialized in long range, you should prioritize Long-Range Expert. These are far more impactful in both PvP and general combat situations, making City Guard Attack relatively pointless in comparison. Next up, let's talk about City Guard HP. If you're playing a defensive role, this is definitely a skill you want to keep and equip. It boosts the HP of your city guards, making your base more resilient during attacks. However, when it comes to the defense tower skill, I have to say it's one of the most useless skills out there. It provides little value, especially compared to other skills, so I wouldn't bother keeping it. Now on to melee attack. Unless you're running a melee focus build, this skill is completely pointless. Most players go for mid or long range builds, so I'd recommend skipping it if that's not your playstyle. For mid-range attackers, you really only need 6 mid-range attack skills. I personally run a mid-range build and have exactly 6 of them equipped. Anything beyond 6 is overkill at the moment. While it's possible they could introduce new content in the future where you might need more, right now it's not worth holding on to extras. For those running long-range builds, you'll need about 9 long-range attack skills to fully optimize your damage output. If I ever switch back to long-range, I would keep at least 6 of them equipped to stay competitive. Maybe even hold on to 7, just in case they add a new hero or skill setup in the future. For melee defense, I'd recommend keeping this one. Even though melee builds aren't as common now, you never know what might happen in the future. New heroes, events, or strategies could make this skill more valuable later on. As for mid-range defense, it's a bit more of a gamble. While it's possible that mid-range defense could become useful down the line, I wouldn't highly recommend relying on it right now. Still, you might want to hold on to 1 or 2, just in case. Let's touch on long-range advent. Honestly, it's a skill I really don't recommend. It just doesn't hold much value compared to other skills. In my opinion, it's not worth keeping, unless you're in a very specific situation where it becomes necessary, but I'd suggest steering clear of it for now. As for mid-range HP, I'd say you really don't need to use it either. You only need to hold on to 6 of them, and even then it's mostly as a precaution. I don't recommend using mid-range HP actively, but in case you decide to go for a full mid-range build down the road, it's good to have those 6 handy. Long-range HP, I really don't like it. Now, long-range expert. This is another one where you only really need 6 of these to get the full benefit. Going beyond 6 is unnecessary, and I'd only keep the exact amount to make sure your long-range build is fully optimized. And that's basically about it when it comes to which skills you should keep and which you should destroy. Now let's take a look at how much progress we've made from destroying all those unused skills. I started off with around 800 skill XP earlier, and after cleaning out my skill inventory and destroying the ones I don't need, I've managed to gain an extra 1000 in skill XP. Just from that process alone, you can see how much officer growth you can achieve by being smart about what skills you hold on to and which ones you let go. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips and guides.